Kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1314. And so it begins. What are we talking about? Well, if you haven't been up to date with us over the last few days, last week I came to the decision that I'm going to sell Sparkles. Sparkles is my 2006 Fleetwood Bounder 32W, so it's 32 feet long. It has gas drive, it runs on gas, so engine's up the front. You got the little hump thing in them between the seats. So it now begins of starting to pack up everything inside Sparkles. We did some packing today. I managed to get my stick-ups off the freezer door. Just a little minor mishap on there, but most of it I was able to peel it off very gently, and none of the stuff on the front of the door came off. I do have a big 12 by 12 there, so I'm leaving that one for right now. I managed to clear it off a cupboard door, which did very well. It came off very easily. I'm slowly working out which ones I'm going to need to get the stuff for to soak that through so that it will remove the sticky stuff without removing the veneer. That's the word I was looking for. So got some of that done today, which was awesome. Means I don't have to use as much of the Goo Gone stuff as I thought I did. I know which ones came off very easily, which one's going to take some stuff to get it off, but we're going to get there. Sorted through some mail stuff today, and just starting to get things ready to rock and roll. And as I'm working on getting things ready to pack up and put into storage until I find a place, things pop up into my head like, well, maybe we should look for a house that has this feature or that feature. And I have my non-negotiable list, and I have my it would be nice list. So my non-negotiable list is the backyard has to be fully fenced with the cinder block things so that Zeffy cannot get out of there. If it has those upright pieces, knowing her, she will figure out a way to get through them. And even if I go through afterwards and put like a mesh thing over it, she will figure out a way to get it. She's a little Houdini. She gets out of her crate. I still have not figured out how a dog gets out of a crate where there are 3 hooks involved down the side, plus the handle folds down and hooks under it as well, and she manages to get out of it. I could, if I wanted to, set it up inside the RV here and use one of my security cameras to film it and go out and leave her locked in her crate and see what she does. But but one thing that the dog sitter and I noticed is that it does upset her gums, so we're not doing that. But so this is a dog that will get out of her crate, even though there's 3 hooks down one side, a handle that folds down and underneath at the top. She gets out. So I want cinder block backyard, cinder block fence, at least 6 foot high, privacy. Good solid gates that she can't get under or through. So that's one of my non-negotiables. So a minimum of 3 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms and a den, or 3 bedrooms and a 4th bedroom, or 4 bedrooms would be ideal as well. So I have my list of non-negotiables, and we shall see. And I want a big room that has like a family room, dining, and kitchen all in one big room. So when I have people over and everything else, I've got the island of the kitchen that I can put food on, and they can sit at the table or they can sit on the couches, whatever. I just want one big room for entertainment. Not that I entertain a lot, but I am looking forward to getting an oven and a stove top and being able to cook and bake and roast. And I'm looking forward to all of that. And I was talking to a friend today. I says, I can't wait to get back and get baking, making biscuits, or you guys call them cookies, and cakes and slices and that sort of stuff. I said, but then I suddenly had the thought of, who's going to eat it? I make all these cakes and cookies and slices, and then who's going to eat them? I'm not going to eat them, and I can't, put them in the freezer forever. Like I can make up batches of muffins and throw them in the freezer, and they're really cool. You just take them out and defrost them, and you can serve them up really quick. I could probably do the same with some slices or some biscuits and just have them for when people come over. I know my mum does that, and she has stuff that she puts in the freezer for when people come over. But I know that with the stuff and so then I'm sort of like, well, I guess I'm just going to be baking cakes and stuff and walking to the neighbor's place going, here, I made a cake, have a cake. Or here's some cookies. Just spread it around one good way of getting to know the neighbors, I guess. I got into a baking frenzy. Here, I can't eat it all by myself. Have a cake. Here, have some cookies. So it's just one way to get to know the neighbors. I'd like to have a gated community. I would like that very much, just for security reasons. I don't know. I just feel safer in a gated community than in an open neighborhood. I guess because I've been living in gated communities for a while now, between this park and the one I was down in Mesa for 6 months. So for the last 2.5 years, I have lived in gated communities and absolutely loved the safety feel that you get with it. I know you still have to be vigilant and you still got to lock things up and everything else. People can jump walls. I know that. But it peace of mind, because you got people around that are around constantly as well. So, but, yeah. So I've got my to-do list and it's just starting. So when it comes to wanting to move and things, how do you begin? Do you start making your lists first of what you want in your next place? Do you start looking for places before you start sorting through the stuff in your house and starting to pack it? What order when it comes to thinking, going, I'm going to move. You make the decision, you're going to move. You're either going to sell the house, you're going to rent the house out. Maybe it's a rental that you're in and you want to move to a new rental. What is your process? What things do you do first? Me, I've decided I want to sell sparkles. In order to sell sparkles, I've got to make it look less cluttered. So I've got to start packing stuff up. And I've only got 8 weeks because, 4th of May is only 8 weeks away. Might be 7. I'm going for 8. That's when I like to get it. And then I was on a call today with one of my clients with their team and stuff and announced I was selling sparkles. And they were all, send us the details. So now I have to write up a document with the details of my RV, how old, the age, the type, maybe throw a floor plan in there if I can find a floor plan. I'm probably sure I can find a floor plan. Put, what was replaced, when it was replaced. Like I've got 2 brand new AC units in here. This one was put in September 2019. That one was put in June of 2021. You were 2019 and 2021. My stairs has a brand new motor in it that was put in September 21 as well. That actually stopped our stairs stopped. The stairs just stopped going out. We went to get out one day and the stairs didn't get out. And we're like, what? And closed the door, opened the door again, and the magnets were broken. It should have put the stairs out. Nope, it had burnt the motor out. And so from then on, we had a little step stool that we stuck in behind the recliner there. And my dad, being the gentleman that he is, would get out first and put up the stool and then hand my mum and myself down so that we could get out. And then he'd fold the stool up and put it inside, and then would lock everything up and go off and do what we had to do. And when we came back, he took the stool out and handed us into the RV, and then followed with any shopping that had to come in as well. So my dad, ever the gentleman. I am, and I will tell you this right here, right now, I am old-fashioned when it comes to that way. I love having doors opened for me. I love having somebody drive for me. I love that. Brad used to open and close doors for me. Not all the time, but I really loved it when he did. When he would open a door for me to go through first, or he'd get to the car and he'd open up the passenger side door and hand me up into and there's the Yukon. It's a big step. He would hand me up into the Yukon. I used to love that. I love that. I miss it. And people go, oh, you're so old-fashioned. I go, my mum and dad are my examples. I watched how my dad would treat my mum, and I thought, that's what I want in a husband. And I don't care if it's old-fashioned. Yes, there are stuff that I will do for myself, but after 5 years of not having a husband around to do things, Actually, you really got to back about 7 years, because it was like 2 years before he passed where he couldn't do a lot of stuff for me that he used to do, like hold the car door open for me, hand me in and out of the Yukon and stuff. And I ended up doing a lot of the driving because he wasn't able to drive anymore. So there was just things like that got taken away from me. And it's been, about 7 years since I've had somebody, been around to open doors for me, to sit and talk with, to drive me around. I miss that stuff. Yes, I've done it all myself. Yes, I have driven my RV from one side of the country to the other and back again, and have absolutely loved it. But one thing that I have missed when I have been doing the driving is having someone to share the experience with. When Brad and I would do long distance driving, there was times that I would take over the driving so he could take a break. I miss that. I miss it's the fact that I have to do all the driving, and I can only drive for a certain amount of time each day, which means it takes me longer to get from one place to another. Whereas if I had somebody to share the driving with, we could drive further every day. We could both work at packing up the RV and getting it ready to get on the road, and we could share the driving, which means we could drive further every day, because 4 hours was my driving time. That was it. And I travel, we put in the map thing that I travel 40 miles an hour, and that allows me stops at rest stops, in a Walmart parking area, so I can go and do some grocery shopping, that sort of stuff. And so I wouldn't go very far on each day, because I had a driving limit. I had a limit for mental and physical that I could drive. But if I had somebody with me that could share the driving with me, we could go further every day. We could share the driving, a couple hours on, couple hours off, an hour on, hour off, whatever we decided to come to, we could do that. And when you've got somebody and I found that when I was with my parents, even though they couldn't share the driving, having somebody to talk to while I drove, did make it easier to drive. And that was my first road trip in the RV, driving very long hours, and decided I was not doing that anymore, because mental wise and physical wise, I couldn't handle it. And I thought, okay, we are not doing this again. So, there are times that I do miss having somebody there that I can share driving with, have conversations with as we're driving along, bounce idea. I mean, Brad and I used to have some of the most crazy conversations when we would go driving on road trips. I would come up with some weird and wacky idea, and he was just sort of like, oh crap, here we go again. And we would end up having this conversation, and I would bounce ideas off him about how this idea would work, what wouldn't work. We'd look at it from all different perspectives, and one would be for, one would be against, and we'd have these debates in the car about it. And, we may have gotten to the end of the drive and decided we weren't going to do that idea, and, that was fun. We had fun hashing it out along the drive. So I miss that. I miss having that traveling companion where you can just sit there and just knock around crazy ideas. And, you want to pull off somewhere and go for a walk and explore an area, you can do that. Whereas by myself, a little more hesitant, and especially with Zephyr along as well. There's some places I could pull off, and, like I would pull off at a Walmart, go park in the back of the Walmart, and able to leave her here in the RV, go do the shopping, and she'd come back out and she'd be sitting up on that dashboard watching for me. And then we'll get all the groceries and get them away. And she'd be left with food and water while I was in there. And most of the time that we were in those places, it was very cool, because it was first thing in the morning, before we got on the road. And then we'd hit the road and go to our next destination. So we were getting we'll go to the Walmart first on a lot of the places, because we knew the temperatures were going to get up during the day. And so first stop would be, where's the nearest Walmart? We're headed as we leave town. Get in, get out, and then we get on the road to get to wherever we were going. So, but we had our routines of, when it's time to pack up the RV, this is what we do. So now it's sort of like, okay, we're getting ready to sell the RV, which is completely different from packing it to go. So now I need to start opening cupboards and going through them and emptying them out and packing stuff up, so that we can put it into storage until we get the place. And when am I going to start looking? Well, kind of sort of like looked online. Now my next call is going to be to my friend Eileen, who is a realtor, and get her and just say, hey, this is what we're looking for. I haven't decided if I want to buy or rent probably to start with, buy later on, and see what assistance she can give me. But if she can't, she will know somebody who can, which is awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done between now and then. And people go, oh, it's just an RV. It's not that. You'd be surprised how much you can fit into a 32-foot RV. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can fit in here. So I'm just starting to go through stuff and clear out the surfaces that have got stuff on first. And then we're going to tackle the cabinets and start packing those up. I do need to get some packing boxes though, because I know I don't have enough boxes here to put everything in. And then once the inside's done, then we'll be attacking the lockers, what's staying with the RV, what's going. For each window, I have cut to size the Reflectrix, which is the reflective bubble wrap, essentially. And underneath each window, you can't quite see it here, I've got places where I've got Velcro, commercial strength Velcro around the place on the windows so that you can Velcro the stuff up if you want to do that. And we spent a summer basically living like that. It was always dark because you couldn't pull the Reflectrix down to let the daylight in, because then it would just get way too hot inside the RV. I mean, it was already hot enough as it was, but letting the sunlight actually come in was, yeah. I liked the days when it got to the point where we could actually take all the Reflectrix off and start having the windows open and the door open. And that's right now. We're getting into the days where it's in the 60s during the day, the high temperature of the day. We've got the windows open. I have the door open. If it's a nice gentle breeze day, I'll have the awning out. If it's a little on the windy side, I may have the windows open but not the door, depending how much dust I want blowing inside. You got to think of these things. And on the windows, they've got double screens on them because they've got screens on the inside. And then there's the screens on the outside of the windows as well. Whereas if I have the door open, I have one screen. And you get all sorts of crud coming in through that screen. So we'll close the door on windy days, but leave the windows open just to get that cross breeze going. And Zeffy hates it. When I open up the blinds in the bedroom. I think, oh, we need to air out the bedroom today. We're going to open up the blinds. We're going to open up the windows. She's not a happy camper because she has nowhere dark to go, because everywhere's in daylight. And she has nowhere dark to go and hide. And that's what she likes about the bedroom. She goes getting in there where it's dark. But you'll go in there and she'll be in there during the day and her head will be buried underneath the blankets. The rest of her body's out, but from her eyes and her muzzle all underneath the blankets. Like, I'm not coming out. So what's your routine when it's time to pack up? When it's time to start thinking about moving? Do you start packing? Do you look first? What do you do? So that's my question for you today. So we are beginning the packing phase of getting the inside of Sparkles ready. And I'm starting to write up a fact sheet about Sparkles so that if anybody says, well, what is it? I can send them a sheet that has all the information on it. The mileage, the tank capacities, how old the AC units are, that it's gas. It's a 2006 Fleetwood Bounder 32W. It's actually a 20th anniversary edition for the Bounder. I'm going to see if I can find a floor plan that I can put in with the paperwork as well. So if anybody wants to have a look, all the information's right there. And then I have to figure out a price. And I know that there's a thing like a Kelly's Blue Book, but for RVs, I have to go find that site and plug in all the information to see what it comes back with. But anyway, that's it from us for today. We shall be back tomorrow around 6 p.m. Pacific time. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hekonara.